Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure to have you all on this Saturday evening on this wonderful event. First of all, we are celebrating a Teachers' Day very late here, but a belated Teachers' Day to all of you, because it's one of the important events in India, which is really followed for so many years. And so that's why this special program, though it's a book release, but it is linked with education and teachers. And it's a pleasure to welcome Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai, the well-known author, and our own Chanakya of this century, who has taken so much pains to document all those things, you know. And it's very fortunate that 5th September is Teachers' Day, and I remember that every first Monday we have our AMA board meeting. That's our governing council, where that's the monthly feature. And that day, that was the eve of the Teachers' Day, and when I just wished everybody a happy Teachers' Day, but there was a very interesting participation from, captains of industry, past presidents, and everybody was remembering their teachers. So teachers are, in our society, we remember all our teachers, how they have not only taught us, but how they have enlightened us and shaped our character, our culture, guided us, and so many things the parents could not handle, but the teachers have been able to handle. So it's a big thank you to all the teachers. And without wasting any more time, I'll talk about the author and our speaker today, Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai. He's an author, philosopher, motivational speaker, having more than 25 years experience of industry and academia. He is a best-selling author, and there are 21 best-selling books, including the corporate Chanakya. I was fortunate in the past, his 3 books were released here, and one of them I was officiating like I am today, so I'm really blessed to be here once again. And this topic he has chosen. He has been a leadership coach and a mentor and researcher, and he is guiding PhD students at the University of Mumbai. And he's the founder and chief mentor of Chanakya Anvikshiki Private Limited, and is the director of Chanakya International Institute of Leadership Studies, University of Mumbai. And he's working on various national and international leadership projects, which we were just discussing while we were having a cup of tea before this session. So, and we are really honored and privileged to have him at AMA. He has been here on several occasions, and is absolutely our fan and well-wisher over the years, And, deriving from ancient, our wisdom from the Arth Shastra, and is a best-selling author. Dr. Pillai transforms Chanakya's revered sutras into everyday wisdom for modern readers. Even outside, the publisher is here, some of the books are here. Some of the books are also in our AMA media outlet. So it's always a treat listening to him. So before his address and before we launch the book, I welcome Dr. Radhakrishnan Pillai with flowers and a memento. So, yeah. So, and memento, as I said, so before the book launch, we will be listening to Dr. Pillai. Thank you, friends. Please.
Thank you, Devesh bhai. I'm missing Dikshit sir right now, but I know there's some commitment at his end. So it's an honor to be at AMA, because I have been my journey of being a management speaker, writer, trainer has got a major contribution from AMA. And I was telling sir also that, right from lectures of Harsha Bogle to, and if you have listened to all those great people, documented from, of course, Narayan sir, Guruji whom we call, his books have inspired me. So coming here as a teacher again to speak on Teachers' Day is a privilege. So happy Teachers' Day to all of you. So let me start with a joke. Too many days happening, na? Engineers Day, Teachers Day. So there was one boy who got a forward. He was not sure. It was telling that today is Father's Day. तो उसने अपने पापा को जाके बोला, पापा हैप्पी फादर्स डे. ठक. तो पापा क्या हो गया, आई एम विशिंग यू. तो व्हाट डिड यू विश मी? हैप्पी फादर्स डे. तो बोलते मैं अभी भी जिंदा हूँ. बिकॉज द फादर्स जनरेशन, फादर्स डे मेंट पितृपक्ष. So remember your father once in a year, right? So when we say happy Teachers Day, of course symbolically there's a day, but it's actually something that we should know that in India, every day is a Teachers Day, right? So if you limit it to one day, that's symbolic. So birthday होना चाहिए, Teachers Day होना चाहिए, लेकिन not limited to that day. In fact, I do train the armed forces, and there's a very beautiful saying in the armed forces: never limit your spirit of nationalism and patriotism only to 26th January and 15th of August. So I know today, if you technically look at it, the day is over, 5th of September, except for that two names which is common, Radhakrishnan and Radhakrishnan. And some people get confused, Sarvapalli and Pillai. Kuch nahi, he's a stalwart, and just following his footsteps. So I've been a teacher myself, teaching in a lot of universities globally, but very clearly taking Indian wisdom abroad. So what I'm trying to do is, in the next whatever time we have, maybe around 40 minutes, I'm going to speak only on two topics, two aspects of teaching. The reason being that if you look at the topic, the transformation of education begins with teachers, right? In fact, the concept of teachers is very limited to what we know in our generation. We cannot limit it, and we'll see how we go ahead. But before that, I have a question. How many of you are teachers here? देखो आजू बाजू में देख लो. And let me give you a good news. All these are professional teachers. Maybe they're teaching in a school, college or university, right? But let me tell you, in India, everybody is a teacher. And in bracket, a doctor also. पूछेंगे नहीं तो भी बताएंगे. अच्छा सर्दी हो गई, ये काढ़ा पी लो. Now what does it mean? From the joke part of it, there's a profession called teacher where you're committed to an institution where you actually spend 8 hours formally. But let me tell you, that cannot be limitation of a teacher. I've done a lot of research on Indian education system which I'll share with you. But let me tell you, we don't even understand what a Gurukul system is. Believe me, a Gurukul, when we look at a concept, we actually try to look at it like a place where students come and learn. Isn't it true? But those are the images that we have created because of all the movies that we see. In fact, after studying the Gurukul system, I realized one thing. A Gurukul system have multiple formats, which means one teacher, one student. One teacher, multiple students, and multiple teachers, one student. And there is no limitation to space. Let me give a specific example. When I studied the Artha Shastra, for which I am known, and I've written 22 books, and we're going to release one book today also. I'll tell you, teaching starts with what is called a subject matter expert. And I was studying Chanakya Artha Shastra, thoda books pad liya, and then I realized my teacher, spiritual guru Swami Tejomanand told me, padhne se kuch nahi hota hai, padhne se shuruaat hoti hai. So please read books, please watch videos, but the real transfer can only happen human to human. So he told me something, and you have to find an expert. And let me tell you, after reading so many books, I found Artha Shastra mein padhne wale aur padhane wale bahut sare. But you have to narrow it down, and I actually found out the best scholar of Artha Shastra alive in a place called as Piravam in Kerala, in Ernakulam district. It's a village. I called up the teacher and said, I want to study Kautilya Artha Shastra. And he said, Kautilya nahi, Kautilya. So the world expert on Chanakya did not even know how to pronounce Kautilya. But then he told me something interesting. Bombay से कौन जाएगा? Usually गाँव से लोग शहर में आते हैं, शहर से बाहर गाँव जाते हैं. Nothing wrong in that, huh? But you have to understand which place you have to go to study which knowledge. Like for example, if you want to specialize in rubber, okay, rubber is not just about automobile, it's an industry by itself. The best place in the world where experts are available is actually Akron University in Ohio State. I've been there, I've been teaching there also. If you want the best experts in the IT field, or what you say, today's generation of technology, it is Stanford, right? But think about it, Sanskrit के लिए आपको वहाँ जाना पड़ेगा. अर्थशास्त्र के लिए I went to Kerala, and the teacher was surprised, कौन आएगा शहर से, especially financial capital of India, right? So he actually took a lot of exams on the phone only. Are you sure? And you have to come here for 6 months. I was surprised when I went there, one teacher, one student. The course was made for me. And now at Bombay University, we have one teacher, many students. And fortunately, my students have become professors at IIT and IIM. So look at the parampara. So I will speak about the system, but before that, as I told you, I am only going to speak about 2 points. One is the attitude of teacher. Because irrespective of whether you are a teacher or no, there is something called the right attitude. If you understand that, you are a teacher. और हमारे यहाँ पे तो मातृदेवो भव है ना, आचार्य comes third. मातृदेवो भव, पितृदेवो भव, आचार्य देवो भव, and let's not forget the last one, अतिथि देवो भव. Which Upanishad? हाँ, सुनने को अच्छा लगता है, and of course it will become a tourism tagline also. Which Upanishad? Taittiriya Upanishad. And where does it come in Taittiriya Upanishad? It's very interesting point. It's actually during the convocation ceremony after the students pass out. It is called instructions for daily life. तो जिंदगी भर ये एटीट्यूड रखना कि तुम्हारी माता तुम्हारी गुरु है, पिता, आचार्य, they are all gods. But let's not forget Atithi. Atithi means anyone who comes without agenda and timing. Actually, आजकल अपॉइंटमेंट का जमाना है ना. Believe me, anybody who can come on the door can be a teacher. But Chanakya made it better. He can be a Ravana in disguise also. So we'll talk about all that, but only 2 points I like to speak on. One is the attitude, which actually I want to share through a video of Chanakya. So request the technical team if it is ready. It's coming from a serial called as Chanakya by Dr. Chandraprakash Dwivedi.
मैं वेदों को साक्षी मानकर इस ज्ञान सभा में विभिन्न जनपदों से आए स्नातकों से प्रश्न करना प्रारंभ कर रहा हूं.
मैं आलोक, काशी जनपद का निवासी, आचार्य पिनाक पाणी का शिष्य, सभा को प्रणाम करता हूं.
धर्म और अर्थ का स्रोत क्या है?
धर्म और अर्थ का स्रोत राज्य है.
प्रमाण?
नमोस्तु राज्य वृक्षाय षड्गुण्याय प्रसाखिने सभादि चारु पुण्याय त्रिवर्ग फलदायिने.
राज्य का मूल क्या है?
राज्य का मूल राजा है.
राजा, मंत्री परिषद, सेनापति, सैनिक, प्रजा और देश का परस्पर संबंध क्या है?
राजा राज्य रूपी वृक्ष का मूल है, मंत्री परिषद उसका धड़ है, सेनापति उसकी शाखाएं हैं, सैनिक उसके पल्लव है, प्रजा उसके पुष्प है, देश की संपन्नता उसके फल है और समस्त देश उसका बीज है.
साधो, साधो, साधो.
दूसरों पर विजय पाने की अपेक्षा किस पर विजय प्राप्त करना राजा के लिए परम आवश्यक है?
दूसरों पर विजय पाने की अपेक्षा इंद्रियों पर विजय पाना परम आवश्यक है. अतः काम, क्रोध, लोभ, मान, मद और हर्ष के त्याग से इंद्रियों पर विजय प्राप्त करनी चाहिए.
क्या मैं इंद्रिय जयी नहीं हूं? बोलो, क्या मैं इंद्रिय जयी नहीं हूं? मुझसे ही किसी राजपद अथवा कारशापणों की भीख की अपेक्षा रखने वाले तुम मेरे प्रश्न का उत्तर क्यों नहीं देते? किसी में साहस है मेरे प्रश्न के उत्तर देने का?
नाम?
अग्निवेश.
जनपद?
तक्षशिला.
आचार्य?
तक्षशिला का गुरुकुल.
आचार्य वर रुचि ने भी तक्षशिला के गुरुकुल में शिक्षा प्राप्त की है।
सबसे बड़ा शत्रु
अहंकार,
निर्धन का धन,
विद्या।
सत्पुरुष कौन है?
जो परोपकार के लिए आगे बढ़े वही सत्पुरुष है।
स्त्री का आभूषण,
लज्जा।
सबसे बड़ा वीर कौन है?
दानवीर।
जो सब कुछ लुटा दे वह दानवीर, और जो लूट रहे हैं वो ज्ञानी।
धन की रक्षा किससे करनी चाहिए?
धन की रक्षा चोरों व राजपुरुषों से करनी चाहिए।
सुख का मूल
धर्म है।
धर्म का मूल
अर्थ है।
अर्थ का मूल
राज्य है।
राज्य का मूल
इंद्रिय जय है।
इंद्रिय जय का मूल
विनय है।
विनय का मूल
वृद्धों की सेवा है।
राजा का हित किसमें है?
राजा का हित प्रजा के हित में होता है।
यानी मैं प्रजा का अहित करूं तो मेरा भी अहित होगा।
हाँ।
तो क्या तुम्हारे शास्त्रों के आगे मेरा सामर्थ्य कुछ भी नहीं?
नहीं।
कौन कहता है सामर्थ्य ही शास्त्रों को जीवित रखता है? मूर्ख! बोलो, क्या है तुम्हारे शास्त्रों की दृष्टि में मेरी स्थिति?
एक वेतनभोगी सेवक से बढ़कर कुछ नहीं।
तो मैं यहां बैठे लोगों का सेवक हूं। उत्तर दे मूर्ख! ओ, तो अब इसकी बारी है। ब्राह्मण, तू नहीं मांगेगा भिक्षा? लूट ले, इन शठों के साथ तू भी लूट ले धनानंद को। क्यों ब्राह्मण, तू शास्त्रों की चर्चा नहीं करेगा? किसी राजपद अथवा धन के लिए धनानंद के आगे हाथ नहीं पसारेगा?
मेरा धन ज्ञान है धनानंद, और मेरे ज्ञान में शक्ति रही तो मैं अपना पोषण कर सकने वाले सम्राटों का निर्माण कर लूंगा। मुझे धन अथवा राजपद की कोई लालसा नहीं।
एक साधारण भिक्षुक ब्राह्मण और इतना अहंकार?
शिक्षक साधारण नहीं होता धनानंद, प्रलय व निर्माण दोनों उसकी गोद में खेलते हैं।
तो क्यों आया था तू यहां?
सोचा था पाटलिपुत्र में ज्ञान के प्रकाश को देखूंगा, पर देख रहा हूं कि ज्ञान के सूर्य को राहु ग्रस रहा है।
तो वो राहु मैं हूं। निकालो इस ब्राह्मण को यहां से।
मैं कुत्ता नहीं हूं धनानंद, जिस स्वामी की ठोकरें खाने के बाद भी उसके तलवे को चाटे।
ब्राह्मण अवध है।
जो हाथों में तलवार थमाना जानते हैं वे अपनी रक्षा करना भी जानते हैं। मैं किसी के रक्त का पैसा नहीं। कल तेरा द्वितीय जन्म होगा चंद्रगुप्त।
अभयम ज्ञाना पृथ्वी इहास्तु नो भयम तो।
थैंक यू। आई एम ए टीचर ना, तो थोड़ा होमवर्क दूंगा आपको। प्लीज वॉच दिस सीरियल लेटर ऑन। इट्स अ ब्रिलियंट सीरियल एंड इट्स अवेलेबल ऑन यूट्यूब फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट। Indians like the word free. 47 episodes. बिल्कुल। और अभी ड्यूरिंग कोरोना ऑल्सो दे हैड once a, but it's very deep. You will not understand it only one time watch. It's not entertainment. It is transformation. And it is Chanakya by Dr. Chandraprakash Dwivedi. He was the director and also the actor who played the Chanakya role. There are many serials on Chanakya. This is 25 years old, but very deep. And I'll tell you the reason why it's deep. Number one, it's based on a historical text called as Mudra Rakshasa by Vishaka Datta. It's a great Sanskrit literature of our country. Mudra Rakshasa. And for those people who are interested in understanding power, hai na? Because at the end of it, it's all power politics, they say. So this is actually transformation of a leader where a king, you must have seen Dhananand, the last king of the Nanda dynasty, was very arrogant. वो easily मिल जाता है ना तो value नहीं रहता है. So he is getting that throne very easily and he doesn't respect teachers. And Chanakya says, no problem, I'll create a new leader under a teacher. You see Chandragupta Maurya? So, summarizing, it's Dr. Chandraprakash Dwivedi's Chanakya. Please watch it. Second homework, study the life of teachers. A teacher is not only the one who taught you in a school or a college. There are a lot of indirect teachers across the globe, and some of them may be alive, some of them may not be. But the best teachers I like is that they are not there, but the teaching tradition continues. And one of my favorite teachers is the founder of AMA, Vikram Sarabhai. I hope you will not forget him. The legacy. So what I am saying is that teacher is the one who creates more students, no, more teachers. A teacher is the one who creates more teachers. A leader is the one who creates more leaders. Unfortunately, we are creating more followers. So the point number one is that शिक्षक साधारण नहीं होता. प्रलय और निर्माण दोनों उसके गोद में खेलते हैं. So a teacher is like a mother, right? In fact, today if you look at a social hierarchy, you know, teachers were first and then came the leaders. अभी teachers leader के पीछे जाते हैं. मेरा job permanent करो ना, मेरा transfer मत करो ना. कोरोना गया, फिर भी teachers अभी भी सोच रहे हैं transfer कब होगा. It is not about transfer. Again, one more homework. Very interesting movie. It's a movie which is based out of, I think, post-World War era in Britain. And the name of the movie is To Serve with Love. Have you seen the movie, anybody? Please watch it. Again, available on YouTube. It's a movie where, because after the World War happened, lot of people who joined the army, World War ended, they were jobless. And the government created some jobs in the education system. So there is this particular teacher, he just come out from the World War. अभी क्या करे? तो गवर्नमेंट के लिस्ट में उनको कोई गांव भेज देते हैं, some remote village, and then he accepts it and he says first day he goes there, बोला ये सब you know पिछवाड़े, rural people, not habitual, manners नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. So first 1 week he gets frustrated, बोला छोड़ो यार अपने जाते हैं, especially when you get transferred to lower places, right? He decides, but then he realizes one thing, only I can transform them. I am the only hope. And believe me, that movie is transformational. It teaches that the only hope of a society is actually a teacher. And the third movie, एक हो गया ना YouTube में चाणक्य, because I believe teachers are there in every culture, not only India. India में तो है ही. So the third movie is again one of my favorites. It's called The School of Life. Anybody here? School of Life. I'll give you a gist of it. मर्म दे देता हूँ, बाकी होमवर्क आपको करना है. It's a story about 2 generation teachers. In Gujarat, we find multi-generation businessmen. I come from a family of teachers. In our own family, Teachers Day पे WhatsApp group होता है ना, we have 32 teachers. तो हमारा ऐसा नहीं बोलते दीदी हैप्पी टीचर्स डे, भैया हैप्पी टीचर्स डे, अंकल आंटी, नहीं. हैप्पी टीचर्स डे टू ऑल द टीचर्स इन द ग्रुप. So I am like multi-generation teacher, and भगवान की कृपा से I still remember when I completed my PhD, I informed all my cousins. So all my cousins told, तो क्या बहुत बड़ी बात है, welcome to the club. So in this particular movie, School of Life, it's a generation where there's a father who's a teacher, and again, like in many foreign countries, the students rate the teacher. हमारे यहाँ तक, at least I don't know about the future generations, teacher used to actually rate the students, isn't it? यार अभी उल्टा हो रहा है. So there was a teacher, he was a teacher of history. He was a teacher of history, and every year for 41 years, he was marked the best teacher by the students. Think about 41 years, this is the last year for retirement. And he has to retire. But the thing is that every generation adapted. Now in that same school, his son is a teacher. है ना, होता है ना खून में. There is a joke that you have to understand community in India to understand India. So 2 Gujaratis met. તમારો શું લાઈન છે ધંધાનો? 2 Punjabis met. कौन सा रेजिमेंट? So 2 Malayalis met. कौन से स्कूल में? So coming back, this particular son, but is not teaching history, but is teaching botany in the same school. Now imagine 41 years his father is a legend, and year after year, like AMA getting the best management institution in India, I think 17th, 18th, 19th time, right? 19th time. Right? Sometimes we wonder, yaar, itna acha kar rahe ho ki you are the benchmark. And what's interesting is that I worked with Nair sir also, and now Dikshit sir also. It's only an institution which is growing, and thanks to President sir also. So coming back, this particular father gets the award, and the son, he feels abhi daddy to retire ho jayenge. Now benchmark hai na, I have to take the legacy forward, but he is hated by the students. Father loved by the students, son hated by the students. And the father, it's shown that he dies in the movie only in the school after getting the award. और जाते जाते बेटा को ज्ञान देके जाता है. Remember, it is never about comparison. It's about giving a best shot. And the whole movie is actually about transformation of an ordinary teacher to the best loved teacher. So the son was hated, the father was like a stalwart. But then what happened is that every generation requires new teachers, isn't it true? And every generation requires its own heroes. Teaching never stops. But the style, the tools, the techniques may change. But teacher का दिल वही होता है. तो ये बंदा जो होता है बेटा, he says, you know, maybe my father was famous because he had an interesting subject called history. Isn't it? कहानियाँ बोल सकते हो. मेरा तो botany है. फूल पत्ते. How much can I talk about? The maximum I can talk about is climate change. So he gets into that mindset, but he realizes one thing, it is not the subject that makes you the best teacher or the most loved teacher, it's the heart of a teacher. And the end of the movie, the son also gets the best teacher award by the students. So third homework. Why am I telling you all these things? That formal teaching is one part of it. Do you have the heart of a teacher? And again, not a great movie from many standpoints, but a great movie from many standpoints. Hum dil de chuke sanam. Why am I telling you it's a great movie? I don't know if you ever realized it's actually a movie of a teacher and a student. Salman Khan comes all the way from Italy to learn music. Again, Gurukul system, one teacher, one student, अपने घर पे उसको बिठाते हैं. Aishwarya's father, remember that? So many songs, that's shot in Gujarat by the way. Now think about it, that somebody coming all the way from Italy to learn, and he says, okay, lekin you will have to go through a process. So remember one thing, you also can be a teacher. मेरे को तो कुछ आता नहीं है, nobody gives me a job. Remember one thing, that teaching starts with an attitude. And then which subject you teach is okay. And the Bhagavad Gita says something very interesting. Yad yad acharti shreshtaha tat tat devetaro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastat anuvartate. That means how the leader behaves, others behave, isn't it? The standard he sets, others follow. Same thing with teachers. Some people say, I don't know AI. Today the generation of artificial intelligence, no problem. You have something better, NI, natural intelligence. And can you connect to UI? What is UI? User interface nahi, universal intelligence. So remember one thing, all of you can be teachers, doesn't matter whether you're teaching formally or informally. And let me tell you, the heart hoga na maa ka. That's why in this country, we actually are a feminine country. Think about it, aajkal chal raha hai India versus Bharat. But we don't call Bharat as just a male gender. Bharat, Mata. If you study Indian culture, it's so much teaching culture, that Bharata, somebody who revels in knowledge. So a lot of tradition in our country about teaching. I'll not go into that, but I'll talk about 2 points of Chanakya. Sikshak sadharan nahi hota. Pralay aur Nirman uske god mein khelte hain. Now it doesn't matter. Chanakya's challenge in that generation was good political leaders. He created. Maybe every generation requires different leaders for different subjects. Today the biggest demand for teachers is the field of yoga. Are you aware of it? In fact, interestingly, there's something happening, a major change, which we don't even understand the impact. It is called NEP 2020. Remember? National Education Policy. All the teachers may know it. Har jagah pareshan. And within NEP, there is something called as IKS. Indian Knowledge systems, and that includes yoga. Of course, Chanakya is there. I'm fortunate. I'm in so many committees. But very interestingly, Ayurveda is also coming back. And by the way, Ayurveda is not just Dadi Ma ka nuska. A lot of people think Ayurveda theek hai. So there was a joke I saw in a WhatsApp saying that, medical systems are like friends. Okay? तो ये जितने भी मेडिकल सिस्टम है दोस्त जैसे होते हैं, 3 कैटेगरी के दोस्त. एक जो होते हैं पुरानी बातें करते हैं लेकिन कुछ फायदा नहीं होता, आयुर्वेद. दूसरा मीठी मीठी बात करते हैं, शायद फायदा हो गया, होम्योपैथी. और तीसरा कैटेगरी जल्दी से सोल्यूशन देता है बट साइड इफेक्ट जरूर होता है. सो फ्रेंड्स विल कम, हाँ चलो ये कर दो, बाद में क्या होगा पता नहीं. But let me tell you, I know of my students who actually are practicing Ayurveda for cancer treatment. And 4th stage. And it's not just about glorifying the past now. In fact, I have become a student of Ayurveda now. One is Charak Samhita, Shushruta Samhita. If you look at chronologically, one talks about many different tools, systems and all. By the way, Ayurveda is going to come back in a big way. So a lot of companies which are having Ayurveda products, right? So beauty products से लेके skin care, hair care से लेके चालू है. So coming back, Indian knowledge systems is coming back. Yet there's a challenge. Remember one thing: don't get stuck in the past. हमारे इधर है ना, हमारे देश कितना महान था. I like the word था. था मतलब क्या? जिंदगी का जो पहिया होता है या गाड़ी होता है वो रिवर्स गियर पे नहीं चलती. Of course, go back, take inspiration. But do you want to move forward? हाँ, हमारे पास था, सोने की चिड़िया थी, ठीक है. So take the inspiration from the past, but move ahead in the future. It's not good to only glorify the past. No? And let me tell you, the past of every country has its plus and minus. True or no? If you go to America, you'll be surprised. They are also proud about their culture. Isn't it true? Go to Australia, they are also proud. Go to South Africa. In fact, patriotism is a very, very deep, natural feeling. Isn't it? How many of you are from Ahmedabad? Wherever you go, you'll be in Ahmedabad only, right? In fact, I remember I was in Delhi for a conference like this. We were 4 or 5 people. And the moderator asked this, 4 experts, which included me. If you were to create one place, okay, which is an ideal place for human civilization to exist, which will be a role model place. So I remember, there was one person, third person, one was from Africa, one was from Australia. Can you believe what were the answers? Each of them told the place where they spent their childhood. So if I am from Bombay, say ideal place Mumbai. You will say ideal place Ahmedabad. A Surti will say Surat, right? So Surti ka khana idhar nahi milega. So remember one thing, that feeling that you have should not be just nostalgic. It should be productive and creative. So Shikshak talent nahi hota is one part of it. But the interesting part is that, do you learn, relearn, unlearn and create something new? Otherwise, tha theek hai. Aage kya? And here is one, I'll tell you. I was in Oxford, I was in Oxford and for some conference. One of my Indian friends over there, he took me around that campus and he showed me a building, like our AMA, beautiful building. And he looked at the building and said, "Pata hai sir, iska khasiyat kya hai?" मेरे को क्या पता. I started looking at the color, the design. होता है ना, दिखता है वो बिकता है. तो I looked at the physical infrastructure. ठीक है, इंडिया में भी है, कोई बड़ी बात नहीं है. I said, what is it so great about this building? And he told me something interesting. 23 living Nobel laureates work here. Now they have that clout and that research funding and all that, right? 23, wow. But that was not the point. He said, we did an internal survey because this professor friend is also from Oxford, right? And these 23 people have got Nobel laureate in different fields. Some maybe in mathematics, somebody maybe in some other field, architecture, literature, है ना? Okay, one thing we actually did a research of these 23 people. Survey करते हैं ना? आजकल survey poll is the way to understand reality. है ना, आजकल मोबाइल पे आता है, प्लीज फिल दिस क्वेश्चन हियर, गूगल फॉर्म. ठीक है, उन्होंने भी किया. एंड दे एक्चुअली फाउंड आउट व्हाट इज द रीजन दैट ऑल ऑफ देम गॉट नोबेल प्राइज. डिफरेंट फील्ड्स, द हाईएस्ट ऑनर इन दैट फील्ड, एंड ऑल ऑफ देम हैड अ कॉमन आंसर. It is because of one teacher who inspired me to take up that subject as my lifetime commitment. True or no? वो छोटा सा बच्चा होता है, उसमें ड्राइंग का गुण है. He inspired him and he became the greatest architect of that generation. Isn't it true? So remember one thing, it is not just that you are a teacher formally. Do you create an interest in the students to continue research after the course is over? Swami Chinmayan used to tell this very nice, the quality of a teacher to inspire the student to learn on his own after the lecture is over. नहीं तो क्या homework करके exam देना है. Exam is a dangerous system. Our education system has only become an examination. And how can your marks decide your future? True or no? You can be inspired. In fact, there's a joke about 10th standard exam. A lot of things are going to change, by the way, after NEP. So there's a joke about 10th standard exam. One boy was dancing and one girl was crying. So they asked the girl, "Kya hua?" I only got 98.5. But the other girl got 99. Comparison. And the boy was dancing. Pass ho gaya. So remember one thing, it is not the happiness because of marks, but chalo chhud gaye. 80 KT. Remember engineers? Allowed to keep terms. Finally. Better become an engineer, nahi to shaadi nahi hogi. Arey? Actually, I don't know if you heard about Suhas Gopinath. How many of you heard? Google karna. There you are. You know which field is he from? Yeah. No, this is different. Sure. I'll tell you, Google karna iske upar. Lot of homework, na? Suhas Gopinath is actually one of the pioneers of Startup India. A young boy in Bangalore, in school started learning computers 25 years ago. IT industry had just come in and he made it very big. But you'll be surprised, he actually started getting contracts from American companies. And India mein us zamane mein, he went and said, the American company said, "We are ready to give you an order to develop this software, yet you'll have to register a company." He was only 11 or 12 years old. And Indian government, अरे ऐसा नहीं होता. You have to minimum 18 years to become a director of a company, isn't it? He went back to the Americans and said, sorry, हमारे यहाँ पे ऐसा law नहीं है. You know what the Americans said? Really? You're such a talent. Don't worry, we'll give the order, but we'll have to structure the company headquartered in America. And his claim to fame, Suhas Gopinath, is that he became the world's youngest CEO of a multinational company. Bill Gates called him. तभी हमारा छापा लगता है. Great man. Swami Vivekananda had to go to America. Anyway, the story goes that later on, he was actually still studying engineering. And this, Suhas was telling me once, in a conference again, saying that, because American system during those days, remember the Y2K era? So they used to give a lot of work to us. We were outsourced for them. दिन रात भर काम करते, सुबह जाके कॉलेज में सोता था वो. Okay, and he was doing engineering. And imagine that one day his professor called him, चलो staff room में. तो डर गया, सर sorry सोऊंगा नहीं. तो आ तो सही. This is my resume, please give me a job. He actually had employees across 11 countries. But he said, why am I doing engineering where my professor wants to be my employee? बोलता है because of my mother. He says, बेटा जिंदगी में जो करना है कर, पहले इंजीनियर बन जा. Otherwise marriage market में value नहीं है. Why are you doing MBA? 2 reasons. Number 1, career growth, good. Second one, शादी postpone कर सकते हैं. For the girls. And for the boys, शादी के लिए value बढ़ जाएगी. अरे? Remember one thing, ठीक है, whichever degree you do, are you really behind the knowledge part of it or a degree part of it? So coming back, in this first thing, शिक्षक साधारण नहीं होता, it's a very interesting deep proverb which means that you actually understand the knowledge part of it. And when Chanakya was insulted, he said very clearly, मेरे पास ज्ञान रही तो मैं सम्राटों का निर्माण कर लूँगा. Remember one thing, wealth is created through knowledge. Look at the biggest industrialist. They'll have the best advisors on their board, isn't it? that are you seeking knowledge or are you seeking money? Oh, Saraswati और लक्ष्मी साथ में नहीं चलती. सरस्वती आगे चलती है, but लक्ष्मी आएगी, don't worry. The idea is that we are already becoming a knowledge economy. We have moved from an industrial economy to an information economy to now a knowledge economy. Today the biggest thing is patenting, isn't it? IP, IPR. You create once and you can duplicate it globally. So I am not going to talk about IPR right now, but imagine 22 books and globally recognized in a lot of universities because Indian knowledge modified, otherwise stuck in the past forever. याद रखिए आपका कोई भी field हो, it can be music, science, arts, whatever field you choose. You have to move ahead with the times, isn't it true? So the second and the last point which I'll speak about is what is called as traditional teaching methodologies. One is शिक्षक सारा नहीं होता, attitude. What are the method that we had? And can we make the methods better? You must have heard about so many systems, and one of the systems is Gurukul system that I spoke about. In the Gurukul system, we never had books. उस ज़माने में ताड़पत्री होता था, remember? Documentation was done in stones and palm leaves. Paper came only 200 years back. But in that system, they used to actually have oral systems. पाठ, मराठी में कहावत है, अरे पाठ कर रहे. पाठ means repetition, mugging up. Lot of people think ये क्या है यार, रट्टा मार रहे हैं. Examination is only that, right? Memory skills. Before the exam, I was wise. I remembered everything. After exams, I am wise. I still remember everything. But during exam, otherwise. So was our memory system bad? People say, nahi yaar, ye kya hai? Only just remembering. But we don't realize it. What we memorize becomes a part of our life forever. What is 5 into 5? है ना, आज भी फायदा होता है कि नहीं होता है? तो तभी बोरिंग लगता होगा, क्या मल्टीप्लिकेशन टेबल, रामायण का पाठ करो, whatever, you know. The part was a very interesting teaching methodology. And this I got a confirmation at Mumbai University when a strange thing happened around 5 years ago. I remember I was doing my PhD then, 5 or 6 years ago, the final stages. My PhD guide, Dr. Shubhada Joshi, she was the head of the philosophy department of the University of Mumbai. Of course, I was already doing my work in the corporates and lot of things and all. So one day I was, you know, called into a cabin. Bola, Radha, ikkada ye. Marathi, no? And I'm a Mumbaikar. Come here. What? I got this strange mail. Can you just understand this? I don't understand it. I thought she is having a problem with technology. It was not technology as an email. She can open that. Huh? But that mail was very strange. And she said, you know, can you be part of this? I said, okay, let me read it once again. A president from one of the Ivy League universities from US. President is equal to what we call vice chancellor of a university, the highest. Ivy League. All those Harvard, Stanford wala. So it comes, I want to come and meet you. And 2 months ahead, huh? Americans pata hai na, aage ka plan karte hain. So 2 months ahead, on this day, we want 2 hours of your time. And we are coming from a project of the government of America. Okay? And she said, I don't understand what's the whole thing. But I know one thing, they'll come with a questionnaire. Data collection. ठीक है? Can you be part of it? I said, okay ma'am, 2 महीना आगे है. हमारे तो कल का पता नहीं होता. In fact, one formula I have realized, too much planning is not good, but impulsive planning is equally bad. बराबर है? चलो अभी अरे too much planning भी अच्छा नहीं है, लेकिन too short is also not good. So 2 महीना ठीक है, let's mark it out. But I said, let us remind each other 1 week before that. So I put on my calendar. So after 2 months, so madam, I think she's coming on Monday, 11 to 2, followed by lunch. So हाँ, we have to host the lunch. अतिथि देवो भव, ठीक है. Exactly 11 o'clock के time the lady enters with a huge laptop and so many questionnaires. तो मैं समझ गया, अच्छा सब मेरे को आंसर करना है. It is data collection. But what was very strange is something which I can never forget in my life. My respect for India went up after that point. She comes in and then she says, you know, I'll tell you what the project is. We cannot put everything on the mail, but before I start, let me tell you. The government of America is actually doing research on the Indian education system. Why are we creating global leaders in America? Think about it. Whichever 9 out of 10 companies in technology field, Google बोलो, Microsoft बोलो, सब पता है ना, India से सीख के आते हैं. Maybe half of them come from IIM Ahmedabad. True or no? But आगे बोलता हूँ, every field. Don't think it's like IT. Academicians, all Indians, doctors, healthcare. Isn't it true? They are becoming what is called as oligarchies. Small group but very powerful. So we are wondering why is it? And then somebody told, maybe it's the education system. So we are a group of 32 people come from America and we are going to different places. I have been appointed at Mumbai University. But somebody has gone to IIT, somebody has gone to some village. And हमारा जो research का output है to find out what is good about Indian education system. Thank you. But look at the way. And we realize one thing, Patha, repetition, memorizing is our strength. So when we do a small Hanuman Chalisa, does it help you? Initially it may look boring, whichever, different traditions have different things. But repetition makes the knowledge perfect in memory. Application can happen later on. In fact, you'll be surprised, the biggest problem in any particular application of knowledge is called memory loss. Don't worry, we have a solution for that also. That's the time we require a guru. Look at Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Right? Don't you think he already knew the skill of a warrior? He was the best warrior of his times. उसको क्या धनुर बाण चलाने को नहीं आता था? You remember that story? He was the best. But, he knows everything. But in the face of challenges, you may forget it. And you require a friend. Krishna said, okay, ye kar le baba. So memory is good, but if you forget also, you can have a mentor. So the last point which I want to speak about is tools and techniques of the ancient Gurukul system. The first things first, they taught us all knowledge. Today is a generation of specialization. True or no? इतना ही इतने और नीचे अरे बाबा. I know from a research perspective you have to go deeper and deeper, but sometimes we miss the big picture. You remember that 64 kalas in the ancient system used to know everything: cooking, dancing, singing, art forms. And by the way, if you study Google kar lena 64 kalas, one of them is very interesting: oratory skills, how to speak, how to read a book. So anyway, I don't want to give a lecture on that, that's a separate topic. But the point over here is that in Indian education system, we created the methodology in which people could understand multiple subjects simultaneously. ये तो specialization का generation कैसा पता है क्या? You must be already sensing it. Family doctors are gone. True? And family doctors actually only knew one thing: placebo effect. You know what is placebo effect? ये ले श्रद्धा है डॉक्टर में ठीक हो जाएगा, दवाई तो बाय प्रोडक्ट है. And today, if you go to a doctor, वो हाथ भी नहीं लगाता है, prescription. In Ayurveda, you have to spend time to understand the feeling. It is not the disease, it's the faith in the doctor. Isn't it true? My father always says, Vidya or Vaidya, teacher and a doctor or a Vaidya, is the base of a society. So today, if you go to a doctor and say, I have a ear pain, so I am not an ENT specialist, go to him. Are? You go to ENT specialist and he asks, okay, क्या problem है? बोलता कान दुख रहा है. बोलता कौन सा कान? अरे? बोलता right, sorry, I am a specialist on the left here. You go to the right doctor. So what happened? I got a pain in my right ear. अंदर या बाहर? I am a specialist on the outside ear of the right side. If you got pain inside, I'll give to another doctor. Are? Think about it. I am not against specialization. But have you forgot generalization? So the system that created the tools and techniques was a word called as polymath. One can be a multidisciplinarian. You know, heard about the statement, jack of all trades? Master of? Wrong statement. You read the whole thing in Google. Master of all trades भी हो सकते हो. क्यों नहीं? क्यों नहीं? You know, we have this younger generation coming to us with the same confusion. What should I do? Do everything. अरे होता नहीं ऐसा. अरे that's your generation. That's your problem. Many people get confused with me also. करता क्या है रे? Many people don't know I'm also a businessman, by the way. I'm on the board of companies as an advisor. I'm an author. I'm in Bombay University as a director. So who am I? And then one thing, I'm married also. But I'll tell you, we have lost this tool of becoming a multidisciplinary. Can you be a singer and a dancer and a businessman simultaneously? Our system was like this. I'll give you some global examples and Indian examples. Who is Einstein? Who is Einstein? Oh, greatest scientist, right? Partially right. Why? Any Einstein fans here? Please study him. Okay, what is he known for? E is equal to? Barabar hai? By the way, let me ask you, where did he discover E is equal to MC square? Go to Google. आपको बताएगा Princeton University. Right? And I've been to Princeton also. Amazing university focused on research. और Einstein का board सब है उधर E and MC square. So if you are a fan of Einstein, you have to go to Princeton. But interestingly, he discovered the theory of relativity not in the laboratory or the classroom or library, but when he was playing the violin. Breakthrough happens of your discipline from another discipline. Have you heard about the Eureka moment? Bathroom mein बैठ के somebody meditating somewhere will get an answer of something else, isn't it? So, and I'll tell you, it is not about Einstein. Let me tell you some Indians. Dr. Homi Bhabha. Who is he? Scientist, also a scientist. Do you know he's also a painter? And he's the most valued painter today in India after Raja Ravi Verma. Next time you get to Bombay, go to TIFR, Tata Institute of Fundamental Research. He used to play the violin. He used to paint. He used to be a scientist also, and by the way, he's also a businessman and a bureaucrat. He set up the Department of Atomic Energy. He was a contemporary of Vikram Sarabhai. Polymath. Now you may think, acha, ek do examples bol diya. I'll come to more closer. Have you heard about Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak? Everybody's heard? More Indian example close to our generation. Okay. If you look at Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak, what is the first impression? Who was he? Freedom fighter? Thoda aage jao. Also a freedom fighter. Also, remember, this is our system. You can be a multidisciplinary. He was also a lawyer. Acha, by the way, he also wrote books. Gita Rahasya. In fact, you know, I met some of the researchers who have done PhD on Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak. You remember the very famous statement of his in the freedom movement? Swaraj, हा माझा जन्मसिद्ध अधिकार आहे आणि मी मिळवणारच. Freedom is my birthright and I shall have it. But many people don't know this. It is not a political statement. It's a spiritual statement. Swaraj is a word that comes from Gita. You cannot stand in front of a judge and say, you know, hey. Achha, that is one part of it. He was a polymath. By the way, many people don't know that he was actually a teacher of mathematics. Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak, mathematics. Yes, lawyer, mathematician and astrologer and statistician. Same person, multidisciplinary. तुम क्यों नहीं हो सकते? Why not? See, the problem is that we limit ourselves to only one field. And today if you look at, you know, there are people with multiple disciplines. You can be a YouTuber also. True? You don't have to be full-time YouTuber. You can do many things also. So coming back, our knowledge system was so great that you can do multiple things. But it starts with the base of spirituality. अध्यात्म का बेस नहीं होगा तो कुछ नहीं कर सकते और अध्यात्म का बेस होगा तो बहुत कुछ कर सकते. Another polymath, and I give this to Gujaratis, I love them. And unfortunately, next generation don't even know about him. You know, Kanhaiya Lal Munshi. It's so unfortunate that many next generation Gujarati children don't even know about him. Polymath of the highest order. He got Gandhiji to Bombay. And look at his personality. Author. I think Krishna Avatar is very famous of his books. And fortunately I can read Gujarati, so I understand something. But I was once in his house. His Bahu told me something very strange. He used to write 3 books simultaneously. In that generation, no computers, no dictation. By the way, he was an institutional builder, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan. He is the one who got Gandhiji to announce the Quit India movement in Bombay. Mani Bhavan in Bombay, if you know, it's very close to what is called Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, institution across the globe. writer, author, businessman by the way, Rajya Sabha MP. He was the one who convinced Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. A politician also, businessman also, educationist also, writer also, poet also. एक ही पर्सन क्लोज टू आवर जनरेशन भूल जाते हैं ना. सो माय क्वेश्चन, ठीक है चलो लेट्स फॉरगेट द पास्ट, कैन यू बी दैट फ्यूचर? क्यों नहीं कर सकते? सो आवर सिस्टम हैज लग देयर. देयरफॉर आई लाइक टू वाइंड अप विद अ वेरी फेमस कोट ऑफ चाणक्य फ्रॉम अर्थशास्त्र. आन्वीक्षिकी त्रयी वार्ता दंड नीति चेति विद्याः इज द ओपनिंग सूत्र ऑफ अर्थशास्त्र. क्या सिखाना चाहिए? टीचिंग मेथोडोलॉजी टू आवर स्टूडेंट्स. आन्वीक्षिकी त्रयी वार्ता दंड नीति चेति विद्या. Primarily, Chanakya is addressing and teaching students will become leaders, right? But I say leaders in every field now. You can be a business leader, you can be a political leader, you can be a scientific leader also. And the word is pati. Pati doesn't mean husband. Ganapati, Rashtrapati, Senapati. So he is creating leaders, netas of his generation. And he says 4 things everybody should learn to become a leader in any field. Anvikshiki, how to think. We have lost the power of thinking, analyzing, anvikshan, research. Chanakya focused on research centuries ago. And research doesn't start with outside, it starts from inside. Isn't it true? We had no equipments, no laboratories, but we could see the distance between sun and moon, right? Again, no glorifying of past. If you can go inside, you will create better world outside. Anvikshit, Trayi has got meaning of that generation as 3 Vedas. And Vedas is knowledge of all fields. सब पढ़ो यार, AI भी पढ़ो, machine learning भी पढ़ो, yoga भी पढ़ो, cooking भी सीखो. And if you are a musician, Hindustani, Carnatic सब सीखो यार. Life में बहुत कुछ करना है. 3 वार्ता, please study economics. And Indians are good at it, isn't it? पैसे के बारे में ही सोचते हैं, बात नहीं करते, वो अलग बात है. Somebody study paisa, but they don't like to talk. Americans talk a lot, but they don't understand economics. In fact, you'll be surprised, Indian economic model is coming back in a big way. I always say that Indian economic model had 3 pillars: family economics, village economics, and temple economics. India में कभी कोई भूखा नहीं मर सकता है. Number 1, nature's gift, right? Secondly, घर पे जाओगे तो डांट के माँ सिखा देगी खिलाने के लिए. And if you are not earning, there is no problem in this country, isn't it true? And by the way, if you have a problem, your brothers, sisters will help you, isn't it true? Insurance नहीं है, कोई बात नहीं है, family है ना. So we have to understand, India is not about just individual culture. Okay, it's good to have individual room, one mobile for yourself, but there's the best way to getting together in a family is to switch off the Wi-Fi. In fact, there is a restaurant in Bombay, very interesting restaurant. I think I don't remember the name, but Badra mein hai, it's a high locality. It's got some family tree or some strange name, but they got an interesting discounting model. You know, when you enter, they said if you keep your phone here, 10% discount. Any hotel has tried this. So people are ठीक है यार, पैसा समझ में आता है, but what they're saying, I'm promoting family culture. Whether they're smart enough to hike up 20%, and give a 10% discount. But think about it, that family is very important in the economic model. Then second is village economics. India में आज भी गांव में मेरी बेटी की शादी नहीं होती, गांव की बेटी की शादी होती है, isn't it? It's a collective responsibility. It's not me. नहीं तो financial services are booming. Please save for your daughter's weddings, son's education, and the children say, don't save for me, I'll save for you. But remember one thing, it's a village, and village is a unit we are forgetting. And the third pillar, temple economics, isn't it true? Tell me a temple in India which is poor. I'm not even talking about, Tirupati or Padmanabha Swami Kshetra. Because that was the banking system before the actual banking system came in. It's a trust factor, isn't it? Trust factor. So, coming back, I just want to tell Varta. Anvikshiki, Trayi, Varta, and finally Danda Niti. What is Danda Niti? Political science. So, and this is something Chanakya specialized in. Please understand one thing, that people say I'm not from the political field. Remember one thing, politics is equal to human psychology. You don't deal with people. You deal with the minds of people. Isn't it true? घर पे भी पॉलिटिक्स होता है, ऑफिस में भी पॉलिटिक्स होता है, राइट? But unfortunately, we think politics is a very negative word. It is not. It's actually managing human psychology. It's about data analytics. True or no? Yes. And people misuse Chanakya saying he's a manipulator. He's not a manipulator, he's a strategist. So coming back, I just want to stop here by inspiring you to tell that, Chanakya created a method. Anvikshiki Trei Varta Dandaniti. If you understand all these things, wherever you go, you'll be successful in life. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was a wonderful session, and I'm sure all of us were so enriched. And as he rightly said, the Teachers' Day, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, and this is Radhakrishnan Pillai here, so very appropriate for us. And I think we'll go for the book launch right away, please. And as I mentioned, the other books are available outside. Yeah.
So we have the check for our publishers.
Please, please, please.
Book number 22.
So, friends, this is also available outside. Now, we've got about 5-10 minutes for a short question answer session. So we can, please, you can pass on the mics. Yeah.
No questions? Good. Okay, we have.
Good evening, sir. It's very nice to meet you. I
Thank
am
you.
Disha Devpura. I am studying law from Nirma Institute, Ahmedabad. So, sir, like within 5 minutes, I got to know about this session from my mentor, who's teaching me about taxation. So, regarding the very stepping stone of your session, you told us about students' first step is to read books. That's where the journey begins. Thereafter, the learning begins when the mentor comes in.
Yes.
So, there's one quote by Dronacharya from Mahabharata. He says that it's not the students that picks a teacher, it's the teacher who comes into students' life when the student's ready. So I wanted to know, and it would be very helpful if you could guide that how did you find your mentor?
Okay, very interesting question. Let's have a debate. Who is more important, teacher or student? देखो ऐसा ये दोनों हाथ में लड्डू. नहीं, don't explain, choose one. Which is more important, teacher or student? All of you are right. मैं हमेशा बोलता मेरे क्लास में कुछ गलत नहीं होता. As long as you are thinking. So which begins first, student or teacher? Student के बिना teacher क्या ज्ञान देगा? And what is teacher without giving knowledge? But I'll tell you, we were doing a conference, again teachers training program. We found an interesting third answer. Between the teacher and the students, knowledge is important. Wow, beautiful, isn't it? Imagine you're a good student and you have a teacher but he doesn't have knowledge. Flop. बराबर है? And a teacher with knowledge doesn't have a student. Flop. So, coming back to the answer, remember one thing. The universe is full of knowledge. True or no? There is nothing called as invention. There is only discovery. Law of gravity is an invention or discovery? Discover. अभी cover launch किया ना? All the knowledge in the world is already there. But you have, everybody has got a different question. Everybody has got a different question. Isn't it true? And everybody is unique. By the way, let me tell you, in India the concept is not equality. In India the concept is uniqueness. True or no? It is a natural law that two things created by God or universe or nature cannot be the same. The same tree will not have two same leaves. Isn't it true? Even identical twins are different. Isn't it true? So coming back, every student is unique and every teacher is also unique. Our problem is that we start comparing teachers and teachers start comparing students also. The whole thing about class में ये first है, अरे life में first कभी नहीं आएगा. Coming back to your question, I'll tell you, my dear friends, they are all interconnected. But stage of your life, you will require different mentors, depending on your question. ध्यान से सुनिए, the stage of your life, you will require different mentors depending on your question. For example, did all of us go to school? हाँ sir, इतने तो पढ़े लिखे. Did you have teachers in the school? Of course. When you went to college, did you have teachers? Different teachers? When you went to university, you had teachers? Or somebody who's completed PhD, did you have a teacher of that subject? Isn't it true? So coming back, a student having the right attitude is what is required. And if you want to understand the Guru Sishya Parampara, please study Taittiriya Upanishad. By the way, a teacher also requires a good student. Huh? ऐसा मत सोचना I require a good teacher. So coming back, it's a natural law. And let me tell you, the beauty is that if you really are sincere in your search for knowledge, the teacher arrives. आपको 5 मिनट के पहले पता चला. But you will be surprised. The impact could be for a lifetime. True or no? So what I'm saying is that you will require different teachers depending on different stage of your life and your own evolution. So my school teacher is also my teacher, but maybe I have grown out of that. Isn't it true? And maybe you have to go and contribute to a society. You start as a student, but you become a teacher also. इसलिए इंडिया में the most respected is called Guru Sishya Parampara. गुरु को शिष्य लगता है, शिष्य को गुरु लगता है, but परंपरा लगती है वो चलाने के लिए. One teacher, one student is not a formula. In fact, the teacher is the one who creates more teachers, not students. Therefore, Chanakya, and we always say this, a leader is the one who creates more leaders, not more followers. So, of course, coming back to your question, you will require mentors. And by the way, you can have multiple mentors and multiple teachers. Isn't it true? Why limit it to one? For example, आपके first standard में जो teacher है उसको भी आदर देते हैं ना. But your PhD guy is also a teacher. But you evolved. But you never disrespect that teacher. And remember one last formula. Never ever disrespect somebody else's teacher also. हमारे यहाँ पे comparison. Today is a generation of collaboration. मेरा teacher best. अरे ऐसा कैसा? It's like saying my mother is better than your mother. अरे? Don't look at the mother, look at the motherhood. Don't look at the teacher or the subject, look at the love for the knowledge. So summing up your question, we always say, who is important, teacher or student? Exactly. So if you have searched for knowledge, the teacher arrives. And by the way, a knowledgeable teacher also requires a student. मेरे पास बहुत ज्ञान है. In fact, Taittiriya Upanishad is something you should study. There's a prayer of a teacher. टीचर को भी रोना होता है, by the way. क्या कर रहा हूँ मैं? इतना नॉलेज लेके बैठा हूँ, कोई आता ही नहीं. So a teacher can attract the best students from globe also. In the Taittiriya Upanishad it says, please come from any part of the world. We are Vishwa Gurus. Students came from all over the world. In fact, the greatest example of Indian knowledge system going across the world is actually Ahmedabad Management Association. कैसे आपको बताता हूँ. नीचे जाने के टाइम ग्राउंड फ्लोर में there is a Kaizen, this you've seen garden. How many of you know the history behind Kaizen and India? हमारे यहाँ पे YouTube का वीडियो भी है, नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने लॉन्च किया था ऑनलाइन. Many people don't know that actually Japan's greatest hero is Ashoka. And where is Ashoka from? Here. It's a national hero in Japan. Between India and Japan, what we have done at AMA, we have not idea. Therefore, the idea is that teacher also requires students, students also require teachers. But the point is that, are you in that field? So coming by summarizing it, friends, it's very, very important that Guru Sishya Parampara requires both a good teacher and a good student. And finally, the student also becomes a teacher. Thank you. Yeah.
Sir, it was an absolute privilege to hear you.
Thank you.
One thing I noticed here and last time you came to AMA, even after being one of the best bestseller in India, how to keep your feet, touch to the ground, how to be humble like you, and how to stay.
How to stay humble in success.
Yes.
This is my 21st book, by the way. Yes, I've written a lot of books and I'll keep writing books, by the way. And the good part is that it's my blessings of my parents. How to keep humble in prosperity. I'll tell you the secret. I'm married. So all this, I have to go back today. एक boss को report करना है. The idea of telling is that please understand your success should never go to your head, because that's the biggest danger for growth. And I'd always tell this, if you are successful, comparing to whom? समझ रहे हैं आप? Think about me. Actually, I'm India's #1 business author. India's #1. It's not a small thing. Ask. We have our publishers also here. हर किताब बिकती है. हर किताब. Isn't it true? गुजराती में, मराठी में, सब में. I have traveled 22 countries across the globe, teaching चाणक्य. But I remember one thing. एक जन को नहीं सिखा सकते. घर वाली. Now coming back to the point that it's very, very important to know that knowledge is always about comparison and evolution. If I say I am very knowledgeable, I have a PhD, I am a gold medalist, by the way. My own PhD at Bombay University. I am the head of a center. Many people don't know I am also an academician. I had a center of leadership in Bombay University. But मैं बोलता ठीक है यार, हमारे जैसे बहुत है. So coming back, if you are successful, it depends comparing to what. So if something, I'm 100 crore ka turnover, business language. Do you think 100 crores is big? Of course. Comparing to what? If somebody is 10,000 crores? So it's always, benchmarking. And let me tell you, the greatest people are silent. The greatest people are silent. They never talk about it, but you have to discover them. Therefore, the process of research is discovery outside and inside. And I still feel after 24 years of studying, teaching and writing on Chanakya, in more than 50 countries I have traveled and taught. I still feel I am a beginner. Believe me, because we always feel, है ना, ego आता है ना, India's #1 business best-selling author. Ask them. मेरे books अभी भी चलते हैं. ऐसा नहीं है, by the way. But the thing is that when I look at people, I said, okay, there are people who have written more books than me, more successful than me. But I always, compare myself to people who are higher than me. Like coming here at our AMA is not small. Who founded AMA? I hope you remember this. It's a very humbling experience, isn't it? If you have not seen Rocket Boys, please watch it. Okay, and let me tell you, AMA or IIM Ahmedabad, बराबर है? They are world-class institutions, and you will not understand it till you go outside India. वरना कहा AMA में आगे एक राधाकृष्णन का और एक lecture सुन लिया. But there are so many stalwarts come, right? Now coming back to the point is that in success, if you are humble, success will not go to your head. But in success, if you are arrogant, you will never grow. So I feel okay, ठीक है यार, 21 books, 22 books done, तो क्या? There are so many people. So what I do, I always compare myself to people who are higher than me and keep myself compared and saying that मेरे से छोटे लोग हैं तो उनको help करो. How many of you have written books here? See? How many of you want to write books here? I'll help you. And I'm serious about it. Huh? I've written a book also, how to write a book and make it a bestseller. So the idea of summarizing the whole thing is that success is always a matter of comparison. You can compare yourself to your past and say, oh, देखो, करोड़पति बन गया. याद रखना पति भी है उसमें. And by the way, pati means leader. Huh? Gadapati, gadon ka pati. If you want to be a true leader, you have to be humble. In fact, Arthashastra, Chanakya talks about leadership qualities. And the first quality of leadership is called Vinaya. Vinayaka. हर पूजा में पहले गणेश जी को इन्वोल्व करते हैं ना. In fact, I learned this from the rural villages. हुकुम राजी तो सब राजी. Have you heard that? गांव के मुखिया के पास पहले परमिशन ले लो. यहाँ पे है ना मुखिया जी. So why am I telling all these things? See friends, all this is fine. Success, because, but success is always comparative. Isn't it true? So one is compare yourself with lower people and bolt your ego. क्या तुम? मैं ओलंपिक्स का गोल्ड विनर हूँ. ओलंपिक्स में जाओगे तो पता चलता है आपसे भी बड़े बड़े स्टालवर्ड्स हैं. Isn't it true? So remember one thing. If you want to be a true leader in any field, keep yourself humble, by comparing yourself with people better than you, and that's why we have a great system called Guru Shishya Parampara. Dono words, I'll tell you how to practice it. Let's say I'm a businessman. I'm also a businessman, by the way. I'm on the board of quite a few companies also. So I'm a polymath, technically speaking. A polymath is a person who is a multidisciplinarian. So people say, okay, he's an author, wo bhi hoon. I'm an academician, wo bhi hoon. I'm a writer, wo bhi hoon. By the way, I have multiple businesses also. Anyway, the idea of telling all these things that you can be a polymath, why not? But you know what? I always compare myself in both ways. मेरे नीचे कौन है उनको सिखाओ, मेरे ऊपर कौन है उनसे सीखो. Otherwise you will develop ego. The point of telling is that in life you have to understand one thing. You may be big, but there are people bigger than you. And remember one thing, the biggest person in every field is called God. उसकी कृपा निकल गई ना, खत्म. So coming back to the point, I may be an expert, 22 books. Oh, अरे जब तक भगवान का आशीर्वाद नहीं होता ना, और एक बार उसने डिसाइड कर लिया, चलो चलो खत्म. सबका टाइम आता है और सबका टाइम, तो जब टाइम आ गया है तो अपना सेवा करो. The day you develop ego, you are finished. That's why in the field of leadership, because I teach leadership. By the way, I am also a head of institution in Mumbai University. We teach leadership. We always say, the day you think you are number one, you are gone. True or no? Very good. The next guy will take over. But if you have the spiritual base and background, let me tell you, you'll never be out of work. Because positions will come and go, but work should continue. True or no? Positions will come and go, but work should. This is what Chanakya taught. And AMA is a great example of continuous leadership. Right? I've seen Nair sir, I've seen so many great stalwarts here. So the idea is that in success, if you can be humble, then success will never leave you. But in success, if you get arrogance, your success is gone. Last question. Yeah, we'll take up. Yeah. We'll take up. पूछ लीजिए, quickly छोटा आंसर कर दूंगा.
सर दो चीजें पूछनी है मेरे को. आई एम देवेंद्र. आई एम ऑल्सो अ मोटिवेशनल स्पीकर.
वाह.
या कनेक्टेड विथ सो मेनी स्कूल्स एंड कॉलेजेस इन गुजरात. हाँ. यस. तो पहला प्रेफरेंस मैं रूरल स्कूल्स को देता हूँ. अच्छा, मेरे दो क्वेश्चंस ये है कि लाइक कृष्णा एंड ओशो. या कृष्णा एंड ओशो, तो दोनों के बारे में आप क्या थिंकिंग कर रहे हैं? मल्टी डायमेंशनल पर्सन. एंड सेकेंड इज जो आपने बताया चालू लेक्चर में कि लाइक लक्ष्मी और सरस्वती दोनों साथ में नहीं रहती, होती नहीं है, यहाँ रहती नहीं है. हाँ. सो डॉक्टर विक्रम साराभाई इज बेस्ट लाइक एग्जाम्पल. हाँ, दोनों थी उनके साथ. तो जब आपने बताया तो मेरे माइंड में ये आया था. ऑलरेडी डॉक्टर विक्रम साराभाई का अभी 104th एनिवर्सरी यहाँ पर ही किया था, तो मैंने अटेंड किया था. बहुत सारा नॉलेज. तो बस ये बात दो बारे में आपसे जानना है.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल.
यस, थैंक यू.
सो लक्ष्मी और सरस्वती साथ में नहीं रहती. एक्चुअली उल्टा है. इनफैक्ट जहाँ पे सरस्वती है वहाँ पे लक्ष्मी है. सिर्फ लक्ष्मी के पीछे जाओगे तो शायद सरस्वती नहीं आएगी. सो आई विल गिव एन एग्जांपल. आपने विक्रम साराभाई के बारे में बताया. स्टालवर्ड, isn't it true? Was he an industrialist? क्या उनके पास लक्ष्मी थी? क्या उनके पास नॉलेज था? तो विच इज इंपॉर्टेंट, लक्ष्मी और सरस्वती? दोनों. लेट मी टेल यू दैट वी हैव सीन सो मच पॉवर्टी पोस्ट इंडिपेंडेंस दैट वी थिंक दोनों साथ में नहीं रह सकते. द रियलिटी इज उल्टा. लक्ष्मी और सरस्वती साथ में ही रहते हैं. बट इफ यू टू चूज बिटवीन लक्ष्मी एंड सरस्वती एज फर्स्ट ऑप्शन, ये बोलते हैं लेकिन करते उल्टा. दैट्स व्हाई आई टेल यू ग्रेट बिजनेसमैन हु आर मल्टी बिलियनियर्स, दे टेल देयर चिल्ड्रन पहले पढ़ाई करके फिर धंधे में आ. एक जनरेशन था खाने को नहीं था. रिमेंबर दैट टाइम. अरे पहले दुकान पे आके बैठ, फिर टाइम मिले तो स्कूल में जा. इजंट इट ट्रू? बिकॉज यू रिक्वायर्ड नथिंग टू ईट, तो दुकान पे बैठ, बाद में स्कूल में जा. अभी क्या बड़े बड़े बिजनेसमैन क्या बोलते हैं? उल्टा, पढ़ाई करके धंधे में आ. इजंट इट ट्रू? आई विल गिव अ सिंपल क्लासिक एग्जांपल ऑफ द अंबानी ग्रुप. धीरूभाई अंबानी, Okay, not that educated to that extent of a PhD and all that. Barabar hai? But you'll be surprised, you know, when Mukesh and Anil were learning, where did Mukesh complete his education from? But basic, UDCT, chemical engineer. Who was the person who in charge of UDCT then? You remember? I am talking about current day examples. Please Google it. I will not tell the name. Okay, he went to him and बोला मेरा बेटे को आप अच्छा chemical engineer बनाओ. So a businessman also says Saraswati पहले लक्ष्मी आ जाएगी. And you'll be surprised that in India we followed Saraswati along with Lakshmi. But you see so much poverty saying that Pele Lakshmi. True? I'll tell you how to understand this. Is knowledge first or money first? And that's why in today's generation there's a concept called IP, intellectual property. I met a very strange person in US. इतना strange कि मेरे को कभी सोच भी नहीं सकता कि knowledge में you can become a billionaire. आप Google करना, I'll not tell the name. You know, he's known as the pizza man of the world. Indian है, professor है. I'll tell you, they have a concept called patenting, isn't it? IPR. India में अभी आ रहा हूँ. Otherwise, for us, you know, study, get a job. Then you are ready for the marriage market. Okay. अभी ऐसा generation नहीं है. Who is the pizza man? That particular person is called the pizza man. You know what he did? Very interesting. US में है, professor है. He is a person who is into, I think, teaching food sciences. So there was a generation in US, it is still there, they believe in standardization. बराबर है? India में we don't believe in standardization, we believe in uniqueness. बराबर है? हर जगह लोगों ने सब अलग अलग कपड़े डाले कि नहीं? We believe कि everybody should be different because everybody is different. एक ही क्या पेड़ के दो पत्ते सेम नहीं होते, isn't it? When identical twins are not the same. But US में वो standardization. So this particular professor actually has got a very interesting patent on what should be the size of the pizza. Huh? Because the food industry came to him and said that हम लोग pizza बनाते हैं. You know, all the McDonald's, KCFs. But you know, standardization. He actually created a formula that you actually create a pizza. आपने देखा ना 6 pieces, 8 pieces. It's a standardized model. उसका measurement उन्होंने किया, उसका कितना आटा लगता है, I don't know whatever. And then he's got a patent for it. Good or bad? It works. I met him in Pune. Very interesting person. He's actually from Pune but based in US. तो उन्होंने बताया कि sir, हमारे यहाँ पे knowledge को patent नहीं करते. And by the way, I made lot of money only on patenting. Tell me one thing, do you believe in patenting knowledge? You should, in fact, in today's world. But did our ancestors patent it? That's the fine difference. You know what I did? I'll tell you the formula. Very interesting formula. Patent it, but give it freely. Patent it, but give it. क्योंकि अगर बाहर का कोई आता बोलते हमारा knowledge है, listen, legal terms may have the patent, but I don't want to commercialize it to such an extent that I can give it also, right? So today in a world where knowledge is patented, true or no? And that particular professor is known as the pizza man of the world. He decided कि pizza का size कितना होना चाहिए. Every single pizza sold in the world, he gets some money out of it. Google करना. The idea is that do we go to that extent of commercialization? हमारे यहाँ पे सब देते जाओ. But if you are in that world where you have to make money, today you have to understand knowledge is the base for money. Isn't it true? That's why we have a concept called IPR, intellectual property rights. Ask them. So many books I've written, everything is copyrighted. But the highest joy I get when I see my own pirated copies. Piracy है कि नहीं है ना? In fact, it is said that if your work is getting duplicated, it's the greatest sabashi for you. Isn't it true? अकल की नकल होती है. यहाँ से सब लेके गए. लेकिन so today, unfortunately, in the world of knowledge, patent intellectual property is very big. And it's also considered a crime to steal somebody's knowledge. Isn't it true? But India's belief देते जाओ यार, humanity के लिए देते जाओ. So coming back, what I want to tell you is that the world is different, and please understand this Sanskrit word. It is called Yuga Dharma. इस युग में आपको IPR में बहुत पैसा बन सकता है, isn't it true? And there are different types of IPRs, intellectual property rights. So there आज का युद्ध जो है ना वो battlefields में नहीं है. It's more about ideas being patented, isn't it? Copyrighted. And we Indians चलो, मैं तो भी देता हूँ, but legally बोले तो I have my rights. Ask my booksellers, they make a lot of money, I also make a lot of money. But can I only commercialize it? No. So we should know the fine balance of knowledge acquisition and utilizing it for the benefit of others. And in between, if you make money, great. And I learned this from a Gujarati wedding in Gujarat. I'll tell you how. I still remember it was one of the rural villages somewhere near Jamnagar. One of my students got married. So chalo, they गाँव में जाते हैं. First time I realized one thing. गाँव की शादियाँ मेरी बेटी की शादी नहीं होती, मेरे गाँव की बेटी की शादी होती है. You understand? What a great culture we have. And you know, there was this one wedding of my student, and we had gone to the girls' village because the boy was my student. So हम लोग लड़के के बारात वाले थे, सब आ गए and all those things, and they told something very strange, saying that, you know, even if you can't afford a marriage in villages, it's a community commitment, isn't it? And that mukhya of that gaon told me something, because I was from the boy side, na. ये साहब की बेटी की शादी नहीं है, ये हमारे गांव की बेटी की शादी है. Today what is happening? We are becoming so individualistic. मेरी बेटी की शादी हो गई. So coming back to the point, in India, we still believe that the community has to benefit along with me. अच्छा, जिसके भी बेटियां या बेटों की शादी हो गई है, शादी में आपने देखा होगा, लेट्स से लड़की का पापा है, अच्छा वो सबको खाना खिलाता है. या सर, the success of a marriage is the food given. When does the father have the food? उसको भूख नहीं लगती क्या? So remember, our economic formula is very different. You give it to the world and you will be taken care by the world. But it requires a spiritual dimension to understand it. So coming back to your question, sir, we have to give knowledge. But if somebody says the knowledge is mine, I know, I also have an IPR. The world of IPR is very dangerous, but at the same time it's real. Isn't it true? Ayurveda is painted in so many places. And I say more Indian pharma should do it. By the way, Ayurveda cannot be patented. Because वो सब दादी माँ का नुस्खा है. True or no? Today we are fighting with haldi. Haldi? A lot of research papers going on. I go for global conferences. So coming and summarizing the two questions, please understand knowledge is a very strange thing. Do you want to commercialize it? Yes. Why not? If you want to make money and run your family, ठीक है. But if you over commercialize it, the society will lose. So I have a simple formula. देना है इतना दो कि बाकी लोग आपका ख्याल रखें. Indian model. You give it to the whole world. Don't worry. 2000 लोग को खिलाओगे तो आपका खाना भी हो जाएगा ना. हमारा मतलब मेरा खाना. And our whole thing is become I, me and my family. What is the concept of a family? 5 people. I, me and 3 kids. अरे 3 नहीं, sorry, आजकल तो 1 हो गया. And we believe in Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So my dear friends, I just want to tell you that, you know, in India, knowledge was not commercialized, but knowledge took care of commerce. ऐसा नहीं कि टीचर गरीब थे, बेचारे थे, ऐसा कुछ नहीं. ये गवर्नमेंट जॉब तो था ही नहीं. राजा जाके गुरु के पास सीखता था. Isn't it true? सांदीपनि ऋषि कृष्णा को भी सिखाते हैं, बराबर है, सुदामा को भी सिखाते हैं. So coming back, yes, it's very important that we understand Indian economic models, not from the Western perspective, but from an Indian perspective. Give, and so इतना दो कि आपका ख्याल हो जाएगा. That is nature's law. But क्या हो रहा है, इतना हमारा 2 पीढ़ियों से गरीबी देखी है ना, खाने को नहीं था. True or no? Today, by the way, we are in Gujarat and we are in Ahmedabad. Amul is the world's largest milk producing company in the world. True? And by the way, the economic model is, it is very reasonable also. ऐसा नहीं है highly priced. दूध दही मक्खन is our natural, I would say, intellectual property, isn't it? But the Dadima never commercialized it. So the balance between how much to make money, सरस्वती और लक्ष्मी का जो बैलेंस कर पाता है वही दुनिया जीत पाता है. Otherwise, too much commercialization is also not good. Only knowledge without, that is also not good. Anyway, so what I'm trying is that, we need to understand the fine balance of patenting as required, but giving as required. So all my 21, 22 books are patented, but I get very happy when I see the pirated copy. पैसा नहीं मिलता, इनको भी तकलीफ होती है हमारे पब्लिशर्स को. But tell me one thing, it can reach to a person, isn't it true? I'd like to stop with that one answer and we'll take the last question. I remember one day, a student came to me in a college and he said, autograph. बहुत सारे बुक्स हैं मैंने ऑटोग्राफ किया, and I could make out. माँ हो ना, I never gave birth to a child, but I given birth to 22 books. तो देख के पता चलता है ये पायरेटेड कॉपी है. तो मैंने साइन किया, ऑटोग्राफ किया, तुम्हारा नाम सूझे, हो गया, पर्सनलाइज ऑटोग्राफ फ्रॉम द ऑथर, सब हो गया. Then I told him, do you know this book is pirated? He was shocked. तो सर आपने फिर भी साइन किया. You know what I told him? The day you become big, please gift 100 more original copies. Understand this? So what is happening? अगर अक्ल की नकल होती है, that means you are successful. So coming back in India, we believed in giving. And by the way, the givers are taken care by nature. I'm already India's #1 business selling best author. देखो पैसा भी बनाते हैं, हम भी बनाते हैं. But the idea is that if you understand the knowledge economics, which you have forgotten, go back and let me tell you, this whole world is so beautiful that if you give, it comes back to you. And today, unfortunately, everything is a European model. Patent, copyright, and होता है ना वो सब, intellectual property. I always say, play their game to win our game. IP कर रहा है तो करेंगे, but IP में फंसेंगे नहीं. That is the contribution of great people like Vikram Sarabhai, Homi Baba. They went abroad, Cambridge से सीख के आए, isn't it? And today, if you look at ISRO, it's all here, isn't it? We have become world leaders, isn't it? हम तो बोलते हैं सबसे सीखो, लेकिन अपना भूलो मत. So take from the world, but give back differently the Indian value systems. Last question, yeah. I think Osho and Krishna, they are different generation, different philosophers, and learn from everyone. Yeah. 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 Ah, पूछो पूछो. Beautiful question. अच्छा एक बात बताइए, कैन यू हैव मल्टीपल लीडर्स? हाउ मेनी पीपल विल यू कैन हैव मल्टीपल लीडर्स? हाउ मेनी पीपल यू कांट हैव मल्टीपल लीडर्स? लीडर एक ही होता है क्या? एएमए के लीडर हैं कि नहीं? कैन यू हैव मल्टीपल प्रेसिडेंट्स? यस, एट वन गिवन टाइम. At one given time, think about it. It's a leadership question. We can have multiple leaders at the same time in different fields. हमारा प्रॉब्लम क्या होता है, हम एक ही पोजीशन के लिए लड़ते रहते हैं. For example, if you are the captain of a cricket team, great. But somebody requires to be captain of a hockey team also, isn't it? Somebody can be captain of a swimming team also. Somebody can be a captain or a leader in the writing field also. Like I'm India's #1 business author. ध्यान से सुनिए, India's #1 business author. By the way, you know who is India's #1 author right now? Sudha Murthy. But मैं भी पीछे नहीं हूँ, in fact. But मेरा क्षेत्र अलग है, isn't it true? So if we have sir over here as AMA president, believe me, his contribution is amazing. But you may be leader in your field, isn't it true? हमारे इधर क्या हो गया है, leadership is equal to political leadership. And unfortunately we get very insecure with leadership going away from us. आपके सोसाइटीज में देखो, Why can't you have multiple leaders in different fields? इसलिए आपको एक छोटा सा उत्तर दूंगा और समाप्त करूंगा. It is called ज्योतिष शास्त्र. We don't understand it as a science because for us astrology means future prediction. अरे बराबर है कि नहीं? मेरे भविष्य में क्या होगा? But the reality is that आपका भविष्य आप निर्णय कर सकते हो, but you have to take the help of astrology if required. And astrology का आपको एक इंटरेस्टिंग बात बताता हूँ. किसी ने यहाँ पे ज्योतिष की पढ़ाई की है? If you not, I will say please get interested. Astrology is not about futurology. It's about knowing your nature. 36 गुण सुना है आपने? Everybody has got 36 गुण in different qualities. Interestingly, one of the qualities everybody is born with is called leadership. But which field? It's different. You can be a cricket leader, you can be a hockey leader, you can be a business leader, you can be a political leader, isn't it? Our problem is that we get stuck in that position of leadership. And good institutions say, institutions create leaders and leaders create institutions. True or no? So Sar's contribution for AMA has been for a lot of time. And he's sure that later on leaders should also be better, isn't it? So summarizing the question is that, please understand everybody has got 36 गुण में से एक गुण called leadership quality. But सबको engineer नहीं बना सकते ना, सबको businessman नहीं बना सकते, सबको artist नहीं बना सकते. इसलिए बच्चा पैदा होने के पहले हमारे पास एक science है to understand which field he or she can become a leader. सोचो आप, what an evolved science. Everybody is a born leader, bracket में, the field is different. And the challenge is to find out which field I belong to. So Vikram Sarabhai has been a which leader? Scientific leader, isn't it true? But look at the polymath in him, academic leader also. AMA से लेके IIM, isn't it true? और IIM भी A. True or no? Rocket Boys देखा कि नहीं? नहीं देखा, अरे क्या करो देखो. So what I am trying to tell is that everybody according to Indian Shastras is a born leader in his or her field. The challenge is to discover which field. True. और हमारे इधर क्या copycat. How come you became the captain of Indian cricket team? अरे, you become the captain of hockey, or wait, maybe when he retires you will become one. So coming back to the point over here is that Indian Shastras is all about leadership. And Chanakya is about leadership. Therefore, I always say, discover the leader in you. Thank you. Maybe the last question we had somebody. Last question, if you don't mind. Yeah. Excellent. पहली बात, Indian education system is a leftover of the British education system. Do you agree? Okay, तो education system क्या है पहले समझो. Good और bad छोड़ दो. आपने यहाँ पे गुरुकुल सिस्टम हुआ करता था. अच्छा, मैं आपको एक प्रश्न पूछता हूँ. Suppose you have to go to Gurukul. What is the admission process? मैंने बहुत रिसर्च किया उसमें. We don't know. We have forgotten that. They look at your astrological charting, जन्म पत्रिका. Are you aware of it? हमारे आज में शादी करने के टाइम. But जन्म पत्रिका is actually to know what essential qualities you have. Are you aware of it? So every child or every human being actually is born with certain points. And that guru will come to know, अच्छा, he is good in this field. And many times he may tell, my school may not be the best school for you. You go to the school. For example, if you want to do polymer research, just give an example. Which school will you join? IIM Ahmedabad. अरे polymer में world best institution किधर है? So you choose your gurukula depending on your field, isn't it true? By the way, for your information, polymer, one of the best research in the rubber industry is actually Akron University in US. तो उल्टा पूछता हूँ, आयुर्वेद पे रिसर्च करना है, which is the best institute? It may be India, I don't know. योगा पे करना है, You'll be surprised, हम लोग बाहर जाते हैं for management and all those things, but you'll be surprised, the world comes to us for many subjects where we are leaders. Ayurveda, yoga, we are the world leaders. So why am I telling all these things? Friends, we need to understand that each person has got a quality which we don't know. And Indian knowledge systems actually discovered it. So the point is that if you can know what you're good at, do a research in that field and become a specialist in that field. A scientific person like Vikram Sarabhai or Homi Baba, right? Today we are already global leaders, right? तो ऐसा होता है कि हम लोग जब भी पढ़ाई करते हैं, आपको पता है गुरुकुल सिस्टम में आपकी जन्म पत्रिका देखते हैं, पता है आपको? Have you tried this? I remember I went to Gurukul in Kerala. Imagine I could have gone to US to study Arthashastra. But an expert is in Kerala in a small village. You know what he asked me? Saying that please send me a horoscope. मतलब मेरे को शादी हो गई मेरी. But my guru checked my horoscope and I say, you know, okay, come after 6 months. मैं बोला ये क्या है? One teacher, one student, no course. Course was created for me. Dr. Gangadhar Nair. I went to Kerala and Adi Shankaracharya का birthplace है. वहाँ पे गुरुकुल है. I could have gone easily to US. I teach in US by the way. I went to him and you know what he told me? आपका समय अभी तक आया नहीं है. हाँ? Wait for one more day. कल से शुरू करेंगे. Imagine a knowledge system is that this person is not yet ready. Even if he's ready, I'm ready. His time has not come. Have you tried business astrology? So coming back, we need to understand knowledge system is so vast. I have seen some of my students in Mumbai University. By the way, I'm also a professor. Many people don't know. At an institution. I have a student who came from, I think, one of those, Turkey or somewhere. Turkey, Afghanistan, whatever. You'll be surprised when we take students, we actually study their horoscope. By the way, horoscope is not about only marriage and matchmaking. And look at the horoscope. You know what my Jyotish told me? ये लड़का का टाइम बहुत अच्छा है लेकिन 2 साल में खत्म हो जाएगा. अब इसको पढ़ा दो. अरे ओके भाई खत्म हो जाएगा. He's just 22 years old. 2 साल उसका गोल्डन पीरियड है. उसके बाद he'll never be successful in his life. पढ़ाया टीचर हूँ ना. पढ़ाया एंड देयर वाज अ डल स्टूडेंट. बोलते हैं इसका टाइम आया नहीं है. पढ़ाओ इसको. 2 साल के बाद उसका प्रोसेस चालू होगा. You'll be surprised. The first guy was a topper in the class. And then what happened in Afghanistan, you know that, right? Career khatam. दूसरा लड़का ordinary backbencher. And today he is a #1 businessman with almost 8,000 crores turnover. So coming back, Indian knowledge system has got so much detail. Samay, prarabdha. So I'll tell you, it's not about what you're doing now. What you did in the past and what you want to do in the future. So all these combinations are there. So if you're good at something, do it very good. That's why you require a guru. Thank you so much.
Yes, I'll just take a minute to sum up. Yes, it's a wonderful Q&A session, so that's why it was engaging, overshot the time. So I'll express my gratitude to our speaker, author, and the person I will compliment him most is, see, we have a lot of jewels in the backyard of Indian wisdom. And through his books, our modern Chanakya has taken this wisdom across the world to our young generation. That's why he has so many books, more than 20 books. And I request everybody, especially young ones, to take advantage of the books because there is so much treasure in our backyard. As he mentioned about Ayurveda, yoga, similarly Earth Shastra, and our leadership skills, which were so many years old through great scholars, we can get through these books. So I'm sure I will not repeat anything what he said, but I'm sure you'll agree with me that this talk was very engaging, very enriching and enlightening for all of us, and rediscovering the things which we have. I will emphasize on that word. He's helping us rediscover so many jewels we have in our backyard. So thank you, Dr. Pillai, for coming to AMA. He's here on done, and we'll look forward to the next book launch also. I'm sure he must be working on something the way the multitasking and multi-talent is doing. So wishing you all the best, and thanks you once again. And friends, thank you for sparing your Saturday evening for this wonderful function. Keep coming to AMA. Thank you.